Decision 2022 is less than 3 weeks away. Who Arizonans will elect is taking center stage nationally. And that is why this morning NBC's Bree Jackson is joining us live in Studio 12A. Bree, we usually see you in Washington, D.C. It's great to have you in Arizona. Why are you here? It must be a pretty important election cycle we're following.
Well, thanks for having me. And of course, as you guys know, here in Arizona, this is a very important race, whether it's the U.S. Senate race and then, of course, the governor's race that you guys have here, gaining national attention. Starting with the U.S. Senate race. All right, so you think about it this way. The Democrats have control of Congress right now because of the two Democratic senators here in Arizona. Mark Kelly is up for re-election in a tight race. This race could be pivotal to who controls Congress moving forward. So all eyes are on Arizona, states like Pennsylvania, states like Georgia, who's going to win the control of the Senate, the upper chamber. And there are a lot of eyes here because Mark Kelly is in a tight race with Blake Masters, who's endorsed by former President Trump. You have the issue of election denial on the ballot. So I think that's something that we're seeing in races across the country, but really are focusing on here in Arizona.
And you named so many things that voters really care about and are focusing on this election cycle. While you've been here in town, you've been talking to those voters. What have they been telling you that matters to them?
Well, what we're hearing here in Arizona is similar to what we're hearing across the country, but I think Arizona, as you know, is one of the states that are ground zero when it comes to the immigration debate. So immigration is an issue that we heard voters talk about here in particular because places like Pennsylvania, Ohio, they're not impacted by immigration like here in Arizona, as you know. So that's one issue that we heard a lot about from voters. Of course, the economy. The economy is a big issue for everyone. Gas prices are up, grocery prices are up. Gas prices here in particular in a place like Arizona, I felt what we were paying in the DC area was high. Arizona's higher.
Yes, so, we are feeling the pain at the pump.
You guys know that. So that's something that voters have talked about. And then also just abortion. You know, with Roe versus Wade being overturned, this is a key issue, and also in particular, this is a key issue for women. We've talked with some women who lean more conservative, but right now, this is pulling at their heartstrings. This is an issue that they're thinking about their daughters, or thinking about their own personal experiences. So abortion is an interesting topic when it comes to how conservative women, Republican women, are going to vote this year. That's a key demographic to look at. So a lot of the issues that we're seeing nationally are still right here in Arizona. And it was just great to talk to some of the people on the ground here in Arizona because everyone's really nice, polite, but just a good group of people.
And as you know, there's just nothing like talking to someone face to face and truly trying to understand what it is we're all going through and what we're looking for this election. You've also been following the fastest growing demographics in our state. What is that? What are you finding?
The Latino community, huge, a growing population here in Arizona, a growing population across the country. And so we wanted to really focus on what are Latino voters saying this election. And similar to voters across the country, they're saying the exact same thing, the economy, gas prices, which are part of the economy, and then as well as immigration. Families are divided on the issue of immigration. And so we were able to talk with one of the local organizations here about what we can expect from voters in particular in Arizona on these issues.
Voters are less interested, at least the Latino voters that we're talking to are less interested in what political party a candidate is affiliated with. They want to know, how are these candidates going to improve the lives of my family and my friends?
Was key about that interview was basically in some assumptions about Latino voters sometimes is that maybe they're leaning more towards the Democratic Party. That's not true. That's not necessarily true. And I think that's what her soundbite was just saying. It hit the nail on the head. Voters are looking at issues and they want to know who's going to improve their lives. So if they're looking at Democrats and saying, you haven't done much for me, or they're looking at Republicans saying, I don't think you can do what I need, then that's how they're going to vote. So I think that's just an interesting demographic to look at, is the Latino community, because they are one of the fastest growing populations here in the U.S. And so that's their vote is becoming more and more important.
So much to dive into in the coming weeks. Bree, thank you so much for joining us on your visit to Arizona. Off next, your heading to another state, correct? And working there.
We are heading to Georgia, so another key state, another state where we're seeing a lot of heated battles. So Georgia, Arizona, you guys will make a difference when it comes to who controls Congress and, of course, who wins the governor's race here.
NBC's Bree Jackson joining us live in Studio 12A this morning. Thank you so much for being here. Of course, you can always catch her reports on Decision 2022 right here on Today in AZ.